Hello, Guilty Feminists. This is a very special episode. It is broken down into 3 parts. It's in association with the Nerve News. They're brilliant journalists who broke away from The Guardian, an all-female operation. Really recommend you subscribe to them. We've got the very famous investigative journalist, Carole Cadwalladr, and the incredible Lucia Osborne-Crowley, who was one of the only journalists at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial and has written a brilliant book about it. So we are going to be talking about Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Giselle Pellico. So just a content warning. We have really tried not to be graphic or upsetting in any way. The first 2 were recorded live at Leicester Square Theatre, and there's also me and Ria Lina doing comedy and some great musicians and even a performance poet. So you really will enjoy this episode. The 3rd episode was because I didn't feel like we'd got enough time to talk to Lucia Osborne-Crowley about what it was like to be at the trial, and I thought you would like more detail about how that went down. So that's just me and Lucia having a one-on-one conversation after the show. So if you're interested in more details on the trial and you think you might like to read her book, that is a special bonus for you. On the 21st of May, I will be at Charleston, which is a beautiful old house where the Bloomsbury Group used to be, where Virginia Woolf used to go. Her sister Vanessa Bell lived there. A brilliant place. I'm interviewing Rose McGowan there. So if you can get to Lewes, it's not far outside London, you will really enjoy that live show. On the 22nd of May, we are back at the Museum of Comedy doing a Road to Gilead show. It's Felicity Ward and me, talking to Alice McCool, who has done a deep dive investigative report on how the ADF, who were very instrumental in overturning Roe versus Wade, come along to those. The tickets are around 13 quid. On the 17th of June, I'll be doing a Guilty Feminist in conversation with Tracy Emin as part of Harry Styles' Meltdown Festival at the South Bank. That sounds too cool for me, but I'm going to do it anyway. On the 18th of July, the Guilty Feminist will be at the Ventnor Fringe on the Isle of Wight. Get tickets now. And we'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe from the 20th to the 23rd of August. For tickets to any of these, go to guiltyfeminist.com and click on live shows. Now, the Road to Gilead is specifically about the agenda of the far right. What we're doing is forming a joyful resistance and creating a better existence. We just don't want that to be shows. We want that to be open space events so you can come, have your say, collaborate with like-minded people on creating real grassroots change that will shift the dial in your community. So we held a day with Amnesty International with the brilliant open space method where anyone can call a space and people turn up and contribute to whatever it is you want to do. You don't have to have any ideas. You can just come and contribute to other people's open spaces. You can just sit and listen. You can flip from one to the other. It's a really, really brilliant method. The last one was super successful. It was completely oversubscribed. And we had other events that tuned in by Zoom and then did their own thing around the country. So if you would like to come to the next one in London, this one we're doing in association with Stonewall. It will be on the 20th of June. The thrust will be LGBTQ issues, but you do not have to be LGBTQ plus to attend. And there are lots of intersection between reproductive rights and LGBTQ rights, for example. So you can come and you can contribute in any way you like at all. So if you would like to come to the London one, or you would like to join the Zoom event where you come in remotely, wherever you are, or you would like to do a satellite event in your town and we can Zoom together for parts of it and then you can do your full-on breakout day, then that would be wonderful too. Last time we had a breakout group in Basingstoke and another one in Scotland and even a few people from Berlin. So if you would like to satellite, we would really encourage you to hold one locally and then we will satellite in and then you do yours and then we satellite back in and we compare notes at the end of the day. If you would just like to sign up for the London one, it's £10 including lunch for the whole day. And at the end of the day, there will be a live Guilty Feminist Stonewall episode in the same room that you can stay for if you want to. If you cannot afford the £10, we don't wish that to be a barrier for anyone, so just let us know at guiltyfeminist@gmail.com and we will figure it out. There's also the option to pay £20, and that means you will pay for someone else's space who can't pay. And that would, of course, be very helpful and a wonderful community thing to do. For more details about this, go to guiltyfeminist.com on the homepage. And now, on with the podcast.
I'm a feminist, but I was in the wings before, and I said to my husband, who was there, who was also the producer of the show, could you pass me the microphone, darling? But I didn't realise that he was kind of behind me, and what I'd actually done is looked at Matilda, the brilliant stage manager, and I'd just gone, can you pass me that microphone, darling? And then I just went, if you don't mind, love, you're looking gorgeous tonight. I honestly felt like some old pre-Me Too man, just in the wings going, come on, darling, give me a kiss.
You're all right, love. You're all right. Give us a hug and I'll give you your money. That was how we got paid in comedy up until about a few years ago. I'm a feminist, but I'm at that point in my life where I'm ready to marry for money. I have worked hard, okay? I have worked hard. I'm a good person. I volunteer in my community. I do so many things, and I'm just at a point where I'm going, can someone else please pay to microneedle my face once a month, please? It's for you, darling. It's for you. Can I have a Pilates instructor come to my house twice a week? Again, this ass will be for you. It's hard. It's kind of there. I still live with my ex-husband, who I partially fund, so...
I get that. I have never wanted to marry for money, but I would love to divorce Jeff Bezos. When I heard he was being divorced, I went, how do I get to divorce him without marrying him, though? Do you know what I mean? Because it would be great, because you could drag him through the courts. You could take him. I mean, his wife's having a field day.
I'm loving what she's doing with it. She built
that with him, by the way. That is half her money. She absolutely built that with him, even if it would be half her money anyway because of marriage. But she has built that with him. But I do think she can't be that charitable if she's built that. I think she's that charitable because she's just really loving every day doing a new headline of, today I'm spending the money like this.
Yeah.
Oh, which of the poor will I give Jeff's money to? I honestly think she's enjoying it, just watching him shrivel inside as he sees money being given to worthy causes. I'm a feminist, but I only realised when I got here tonight that I'd come dressed as a trad wife. Now, it was when someone said, you look, and I'll tell you what's happened, is this was clean, and I was still writing my monologue. And so I just thought, what's clean? But I've got something wrong with one of my feet, and I've never been a trainer's person in my whole life. So I would wear like heels on stage or like some groovy flats, but I have to wear these trainers at the moment. And I thought, oh, that's fine. Like Phoebe Waller-Bridge does that. She wears like a cute summer dress or something with some sneakers, and she always looks really great. But Phoebe Waller-Bridge makes anything look cool. Like, I am wearing something that I now realise has lacy sleeves. It's right up to the neck for a maximum modesty. And it's right down to my ankles. But I'm also wearing something on my feet that would be suitable to milk a cow in. And I've just read Yesteryear, because I had to interview Caro, who wrote it. Have you heard about Yesteryear? We'll be putting the podcast out soon, I think like midweek or something. It's about a trad wife. This is a genius idea. It's about a trad wife who is, she's got all the social media team and nannies behind the scenes, and she's super, super rich. But she does all that, I'm dressed in gingham, I'm having 6 children, I'm making Fruit Loops from scratch. And she wakes up one morning in 1855 as a real trad wife, and she's like, what the fuck? And of course, there's
amazing.
The mystery for us is, has she travelled in time? And the mystery for her of, have I been kidnapped? Am I in a reality show? What's happened? She doesn't know what's happened to her, but she's trying to escape from this terrible ranch, and she realises what really being a trad wife is all about.
I am so conflicted about trad wives. I just wrote a chapter in my book about trad wives as well, and I'm confused by it because trad wives are pushing a narrative that I think is horrendous, saying, oh, just give up the vote, let your husband decide for the household, all of that, and yet the most successful trad wives are some of the most successful women that we have. And I'm like, I want to support you as a woman, but at the same time, I don't like what you're saying. I don't know.
You do not need to support them as women. Sorry, there are limits to feminism, and I found them. You do not need to support Ballerina Farm because she's a woman. No, that's like saying you have to support Caroline Levitt, and you absolutely shouldn't and mustn't. Yes, that's bought on Panto season. Have you got another one?
Yes, I'm a feminist, but I think teenage girls are some of the most horrendous creatures on the face of the planet.
Any teenage girls in? Yeah, you've won them over. I'm a feminist, but bless me, audience, for I've sinned. I went to see Wuthering Heights and I had several impure thoughts about Jacob Elordi, who is 28 years old and was 27 years old at the time of shooting.
Well, I'm gonna see your 27 Jacob Elordi, and I'm gonna raise you. I first discovered him in the kissing booth game. You know the one? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that one. And I went,
You weren't in a kissing booth with him, were you?
I
You were
wish.
It was just a movie.
I wish, but he was playing a high schooler, and I was there going, oh, okay. He can only get older from now.
Wow. Live from the Leicester Square Theatre in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Frances-White, guest co-host Ria Lina, and our very special guests, Carole Cadwalladr and Lucia Osborne-Crowley, talking about the Epstein files. Hello. How are you? Here we are. It's Thursday night. That's right. It's Thursday night. It's almost the weekend. We're almost at our bank holiday weekend. So dare I say it, this is our last piece of feminism for 4 days. And it's just lying in the sun with chalk ices. I mean, I know that's not true. That would have been true a few years ago, but now we have to do feminism all the time because of the far right. There's no days off anymore. There's just feminism, chalk ice feminism. And at this point, the chalk ices are fueling the feminism, and therefore they are feminism. That's right. Every chalk ice is just glucose for the soul so that we can go out there with signs that say things like, not again. We thought it had got a bit better. What the fuck happened? Remember 2018 when we were like, we're winning? That's right. But my theory is, this is the empire striking back. And they only do that when the Jedis are winning. Do you know what I mean? Like Star Wars is just, we're in charge. Then the rebels come up and they go, what the fuck? And the rebels start winning, and then the empire has to strike back. So we are now in the Empire Strike Back. We were in Star Wars. And someone needs to tell me this, is Empire Strikes Back the second one or the third one? It is the second one. Thank God. As I was saying it, I thought, the Return of the Jedi, is that number 2 or 3? It is, of course. So the Empire Strikes Back, bad stuff. We are now verging on, before May elections, the Return of the Jedi, okay? Because we're not going to let reform take this country in local elections, in any elections. Whoever you're woohooing for or getting out there for, whether I know some of you will be feeling now that there's a great hope in the Green Party. Excellent. I am feeling that, but you do not have to be feeling that. This is not a party political space. As long as you want the world to be kinder and fairer and you want this country not to be taken over by Temu fascists, then 100% you are in the right place and you are amongst friends. So whether you're going for some kind of tactical voting, whether you're going green, whether you've got your party of choice that you love that isn't reform, although, I mean, I've said this at a couple of these, but I think it's worth saying again. I'm a feminist, but I have been thinking about starting my own far-right party. That's right. And my inspiration was when Restore started. Did you see Restore? Because some people were thrown out of Reform for being too racist. Imagine that. Imagine getting the letter and going, oh, okay. So they've started Restore, and I've thought, what if I started Refresh? And then you started renege. And then you started recunt. And then every far-right voter would be in the booth going, I don't know which one of these is mine. We split the vote like Marmite on toast. They win nothing. These are the kinds of strategies we need to be employing. We've been good for too long. We've been ethical and full of integrity for too long. We need to start getting strategic, by which I mean sneaky. Just give us a cheer if you listen to The Guilty Feminist. Give us a cheer if you don't know what you're at. Excellent, okay. Notice how those cheers were a little less certain, a little less powerful, a little less feminist, if you will. Don't worry, by the end of the evening, you will be converted. Lock the doors. It's not a cult. It's important to say it's not a cult. That's absolutely key. Give us a cheer if you think you have a very feminist job or side hustle, or, you do something voluntarily, but if you think you've got a feminist job. Excellent. Just give us a cheer if you think you might have the most feminist job in the room. Oh. Quite a lot of women have dropped out. Imagine if that were men, though. Whoa! What, the most? The best? Women go, I wouldn't say the best. I'd like to hear the metric for success first. I don't know who's in. There could be a female judge who's just landed a very important case, and I would have to listen to that and say, no, I'm definitely coming in at a 7 out of 10. So who's got the most feminist job? There was a couple of hands here. There was a woo there. What's your feminist job?
I created a website called womenvote.co.uk to try to get more of us out there voting and getting our besties to vote. Because in the UK, a lot of people don't vote. As an Australian, we have to vote. And I get so upset when people don't use their vote.
Very good. Very good. Now, what's your name? Sam. Sam, I'm also Australian. So I was raised that it was illegal not to vote. If you didn't vote, you got a fine. Voting was done on a Saturday because that was the day, the larger percentage of the population would have off. Here it's like a Thursday. People are quite busy on Thursday. They've got the school run. They've got office jobs. They're held back. I went up to knock on doors in Gorton and Denton. A lot of people are like, I've got to go to work. If I'm on the way back, I don't know, I've got quite a long shift. Why do we have it on a Thursday? It's because they don't want people to stay up late on a Saturday night counting the votes. Not as important as people actually fucking voting. I would be happy if they counted the votes on Monday morning. I don't mind that. What I do mind is people not voting. So I think this is excellent. We have to admit, though, Sam, if it wasn't illegal not to vote in Australia, almost nobody would vote. They would be... If it was a nice day, if the surf was up, Look, a lot of people live within looking distance of the surf. Be honest... The sausage sizzle, yes. So if people looked out at the beach when it's a lovely day at the beach, we could vote, but look at that water. And then they think, but it'll cost me $50. I'll vote on the way. That's what it is. But the sausage sizzle is a very important part of Australian culture, and we need to bring it here. This would be good for your website. Tell them about the sausage sizzle.
Oh, bless you. So womenvote.co.uk, because we don't do sausage sizzles here, and it's on a Thursday. In Australia, the voting takes place at public schools, so the mums and dads set up barbecues and they have sausages and tomato sauce and onions, and you're incentivised to go to your local school where you vote and get your sausage sizzle and support the school. So it's a win-win-win.
There's a New Zealander here saying New Zealand created that. Let's get ready to rumble. Who started the pavlova? Australia and New Zealand. New Zealand did actually invent a lot of things Australia takes credit for. But you can have Russell Crowe back. It's true. In Australia, they've incorporated a free barbecue. If you can think of anything more Australian than that, please do write in. Also, I think there'll be people write in and say, is this a vegan sausage sizzle? And for them, we say, yes, always, definitely. I'm sure there's places now you can get vegan sausages at the sausage sizzle, I'm sure. The sausage, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I haven't had a drink, I absolutely swear. Does anyone think they've got an unfeminist job? Give us a cheer. Oh. Normally there's lots of people more excited to tell. Who thinks they've got the most unfeminist job? And yes, you've got the most. Brilliant. What's yours? DJ. Why is that? Well, it depends what you're playing. Is it just like a lot of R. Kelly or something? So if you're a feminist DJ, I think we need more representation of women in DJing. So I don't think that's unfeminist. Are you playing unfeminist things? Is it mostly like blurred lines? What? Sorry? House music. Well, I can't see anything wrong with that as long as you're not really going for the most graphic, exploitative lyrics. Are you? You're not allowed to? Why? Oh, because you're on the radio. You're a radio DJ. Tomorrow. Oh, well, we'll listen in. Where are you?
Dalston Radio tomorrow, Saturday, Brixton Radio.
Dalston Radio tomorrow, Saturday, Brixton Radio. I feel like this was just a commercial. I don't think anybody's fooled that that's an unfeminist job. We want more women on the radio. But tune in. What's your name? The Consultant. Interesting. Is that your DJ name? Okay, just checking. Because I quite like the idea that your mother named you The, and your father's surname is Consultant. Anyone got a genuinely unfeminist job? Just give us a cheer. Yes? Genuinely unfeminist job? Shout it out. Prosecutor. Now, don't turn, we've asked her. Took a while to get it out of her. Do you do any Trojan horse feminism in your prosecuting? That's what I find. If you're listening at home, she said no comment. That's what I find. I find the people with the least feminist jobs often do the most feminism within them because they're in the role. Excellent. Okay, we've got to start the show, but first, I've taken to doing... Essentially, these are Road to Gilead shows. So old school Guilty Feminist shows, and we still do those, are basically, if you don't know what you're at, this is the Guilty Feminist. It's a podcast about feminism, but it's also funny, but we can change gears and we can go into sad or difficult or angry things and then change back gears out. So if you're new here, that's what it is. But the Road to Gilead is a project we're doing about the rise of the far right and particularly how far-right Christian nationalism is coming in funded and strategically placed from the United States of America and how that's going all around the world. And we also care very much about our siblings in America and what we're seeing there. And so I've started doing what I'm now thinking of, I suppose, as Road to Gilead news. Since I saw you last, the king has gone to the USA and was that from the New Zealander? Yeah, he's your king too. Sorry about that. Commonwealth still going strong. The king has gone to the USA and effectively roasted the President Donald Trump. The king compared Trump's egregious ballroom renovation with the time the British burned the White House down. Trump pretended to laugh, but no one thinks he understands a reference to 1812. If I had to look it up, he had to look it up. And he's too arrogant to look anything up. Then the king said, Magna Carta is cited in at least 160 Supreme Court cases since 1789, not least as the foundation of the principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances. As a nudge, nudge, wink, wink to the dictatorial dickheadishness he's been witnessing from the MAGA administration. And that received an immediate standing ovation with cheering and woohooing from a bunch of cowards who sat down again and proceeded to let Trump do whatever the fuck he wants. Don't give it a standing ovation if you're just going to watch him do it. The BBC website reads, the official goodbye showed the different approaches of the president and the king. This is true. Donald Trump was happy to chat in front of the camera. The king seemed less enchanted. When the king was asked for a favourite moment from the trip by reporters, there was no clear reply. Just a smile. He was not going to be drawn into any public exchanges. Trump, on the other hand, said, we need more people like that in our country. Great, really great people. We need more people like that in our country. British monarchs. He said said on the occasion of the 250th anniversary of American independence. That's why they were there. Independence from what, you might ask? Independence from British monarchs. Presumably, Trump's remark is the fulfillment of the prophecy in Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton song for King George III, "You'll be back." Wow, why did we kick these guys out? They're great. Bring your thrones over here. No, don't bother. I've got a bunch of pure gold ones I got off Temu. In Reform UK news, this story dropped 2 hours ago in the Telegraph. This is fresh off the press. I dare any of you to have already read this. And if you have, why are you subscribing to the Telegraph? Now, you should be subscribing to the Nerve News. The Nerve News, everybody. That's real news. Okay. This is the genuine story, and I'm going to read it to you. Wetherspoon pub manager has been accused of refusing to serve Reform UK supporters. In footage shared online, a manager at the Picture Palace in Braintree, Essex, appears to turn away customers who support Nigel Farage's party. Several men ask if they are being refused service because of their political allegiance. The staff member replies, yes. They were not allowed to reply. Yes, that's why. A Wetherspoon spokesman said service had been stopped because a Reform bus was parked in the pub's loading bay. In the footage shot inside the pub, the man can be heard saying, "So we can't have a drink then, no?" The manager responds, shaking his head. "Yes, I'm deciding that today, not today." Yes, I'm deciding that today, not today. When another man clarifies that the Wetherspoons in Braintree is refusing to serve Reform supporters, the manager says, yes. Lord Young of Acton, thank God he's waded in. It's just who you want in this moment, isn't it? Lord Young of Acton, founder of the Free Speech Union, said pubs refusing to serve customers for political views was unlawful discrimination. This is a direct quote from Lord Young of Acton now. Every pub is a parliament, where people with a broad range of political opinions should feel free to express themselves. I've not made this up. If the barman disagrees with any of his customers' views, he should engage them in debate, not refuse to serve them. Robert Jenrick, that is the appropriate. Robert Jenrick, Reform's Treasury spokesman, who I was once on Question Time with. My God, what a smug, smackable face. I deserve a medal for holding myself back. Robert Jenrick, Reform's Treasury spokesman who was holding an event in the area, appeared to defend the barman. He told the Telegraph, "I hope Wetherspoons don't deal with the young man too harshly. He seemed very upset, but he should be reassured that he has a great career ahead of him with Reform's plans to cut VAT and beer duty for pubs across the country." Now, this plan means, I believe, pints will be 5p cheaper. Thank God. Please steal breakfast from children in front of their very faces to allow a pub to serve a pint 5p. It's not worth talking about. You can either afford a pint or you can't, and we can't. Giving us 5 pence off the pint isn't going to fucking help. What year does he think this is? 5 pence. It's like he thinks that but this is not pocket money in 1952. Deborah Frances-White commented on the Guilty Feminist. If you're too right-wing to be in a Wetherspoons, it's time to have a good hard look in the mirror. Just going to go out. And finally, prominent Reform backer Aaron Banks was accused of questioning the Welshness of a black Plaid campaigner in an online post, where he wrote, "Welsh lad." So basically someone posted a black Welshman and he went, "Oh, is he really Welsh?" Helen Jenner, who was appointed deputy leader of Reform in Wales in April, refused 5 times in an interview to call on Aaron Banks to apologise, until she was told the 6th time that her boss, Nigel Farage, has said Aaron Banks should apologise. And then she said, I think that someone that's put something like that out that's been taken in that way should apologise, clarify what they mean. Later, when another Reform rep was asked whether Helen Jenner should apologise for not apologising earlier, he said, I think apologising is saying sorry. And sorry is a feeling one should have if one has engaged in some fuckery-uppery. Oh my God, my Uber's here. And that's this week's Far Right News. And now we're ready to start the show? Then please welcome my host for this evening, my co-pilot. She is a Radio 4 favourite. She's a fabulous stand-up comedian. Put your hands together and make woohooing noises for the wonderful Ria Lina.
Absolutely fine.
Thank you so, so much for coming, Ria Lina. How are you?
I'm good. Pleasure to be here. Although I do need to go away and cry for 20 minutes after your opening because just some of that's too real.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel really embarrassed that I got so much comedy out of just reading The Telegraph. Normally you'd make jokes and you'd break. I was like, I don't really have to do anything here. This is just all hysterically funny.
I find The Telegraph very entertaining. I know you said as a joke, who's reading The Telegraph, but actually their headlines are superb. They will make me stop my day and go, what? Like, really? Anyone actually thinks this is a thing? I think it's highly entertaining.
Seriously, it can be on its own merit satire, but that was absolutely incredible. That Weatherspoons that just were like, yeah, we're not serving reform. That's the decision I've made today. This is The Guilty Feminist, the podcast in which we explore our noble goals as 21st century feminists and the hypocrisies and insecurities which undermine them. I'm Deborah Frances-White. With me is Ria Lina. And tonight we are talking about, among other things, the Epstein files. And that we won't go into anything graphic. I don't want anyone to feel like, oh no, I'm going to hear terrible things. It's not about that. It's about the power structures, how we got here, where we're going now, but also other interconnecting fears we have about who's running the show and who is taking more power. So we're not going to dwell in any space, but we are going to be asking where we're at. And we have got two of the finest minds in journalism, I think, really exceptional writers and thinkers. We've got the incredible Carole Cadwalladr. And we've got the wonderful Lucia Osborne-Crowley. I will introduce them again later when I come on, but I'm so excited about them. And they're from the Nerve News, and this is a Guilty Feminist Nerve crossover. So this is both of our shows. So I just wanted to mention them early and let you know you'll be hearing from really clever people soon. Between now and then, I mean, Ria actually is very clever because she's a scientist turned comedian, but she's not going to show you how clever she is for a while because we're going to do some ridiculous comedy.
I also did leave science for comedy. How clever is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a
It's a bit like being a
limb.
straight woman. Like, you know, we value ourselves, but at the same time, we still like men. It's really hard.
I know. It's something to live with if you're attracted to men. But at the same time, there are some lovely men. We won't be hearing about them tonight. We actually do have a lovely man on the bill because I thought it's important to, for men to join the conversation. But he'll only be here briefly. Don't worry. Now, are you ready for some stand-up comedy? Then please welcome to the stage the incredible Ria Lina.
Thank you so much. So I was asked to give a speech on feminism for International Women's Day at a financial institute in the city. But when I showed up and looked at the audience, it became clear quite quickly that maybe I didn't need to give a 20-minute talk on feminism. Perhaps I just needed to stand there for 10 minutes and go, woman! Because the room was entirely filled with gammon. Now, you know what I mean by gammon, right? Yeah, it describes a very particular type of British gentleman who tends to be rather red and ruddy in the face from too much drinking, has very particular opinions on things like Brexit and immigration, and, why use words? This is gammon. Nigel. I can't. But anyway, I gave my talk, and afterwards, one of them came up to talk to me. Now, can anybody answer me this? Why do they love to wear the color salmon? Have you noticed that? It's very popular with that particular group of people, which I find ironic because it renders them invisible. But he comes up to talk to me, and I thought, oh, this is good. This is good. One of them wants to talk to me because I am a feminist, but I believe, therefore, that I should be open to every conversation that anybody wants to have, because that's the only way we're going to make progress, is if there's actually an exchange of ideas. And I thought, oh my gosh, what does this guy want to talk to me about? Does he want to talk to me maybe about the wage gap? You know, because that's not equal. Or maybe he wants to talk to me about maternity versus paternity leave pay. That's not equal. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he wants to talk about access to medical care between the genders, because that's not equal. But whatever it is that he wants to talk to me, I am open and ready. He says to me, here's the problem with you feminists. You want equality, but only for the good stuff. You want equal pay. You want to be on top in bed sometimes. But you're not willing to accept equality for the bad stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? Bad stuff? And he said, and then he went on to say probably the stupidest thing I have heard in a very long time. He said, like, for example, did you know that 8 out of 10 crimes are committed by men? That's not equal. Now, my brain immediately went, Ria, this one's got stupid and you might catch it. Get out while you can. But my mouth works faster than my brain, and before I could leave, it opened and it said, well, hang on a second, sir. Did you ever stop to consider that maybe women are committing as much crime, but only 2 out of 10 ever get caught? I said, there's a reason. There's a reason that men commit more crime. There's a reason that men commit more crime. It's because women tend to use more of their frontal lobes than men. Yeah. Do you know what your frontal lobe is used for? Thinking things through. They did studies. They actually invited a group of women to come into the lab, and what they would do is they would show them an action. And what they found is that the women would look at the action, then they would look at the consequence of the action, before deciding whether or not to do the action. But then they took a group of men into the lab, and by the way, yes, hashtag not all men, 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 not all men. But the men in the study would take a look at the action and then go, I wonder what the consequences are of being a friend with a pedophile, even though we know he's a pedophile because he went to jail for being a pedophile and he has 3,000 of my emails on his laptop. Well, I guess we'll find out because we're doing it. You know, and another thing, the consequences of those actions, especially if those actions are criminal, they tend to be far more detrimental to women than they are to men. I'll give you an example. Just one. Just take one, right? Actually, I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 examples, okay? Out of everything that's happened in the Epstein files, how many people are in jail for it? 1. 2 now. Women, right? Here's another example, much simpler, much more relatable to you and me. If you commit a crime, what will they publish about you in the paper the next day? Your name and your age. Now, you show me one woman in here who's willing to risk getting caught shoplifting from Boots, knowing that they will print in the paper the next day that she's perimenopausal. Oh, didn't think so. Yeah, no. No volunteers. Men don't tend to care about stuff like that, though, do they? No? David Watson, 37, robbed a bank. David Watson doesn't give a shit. If we want to see changes in the statistics, we need to change that number to something David Watson does care about. David Watson, 4.5 inches, robbed a bank. Now David Watson's thinking twice. In fact, you can hear him as they haul him off to prison. He'd be like, hang on a second, it was cold in the bank. They had the aircon on. I swear it's 6 if you push in the ruler. So women, go out and commit more crime. That's the moral of this story. They're not looking for you.
Ria Lina, everybody! Okay. Our first guest today is an investigative journalist who has spent years exposing the hidden forces shaping our politics, from Cambridge Analytica to the influence of big tech on democracy. Her fearless reporting takes on powerful institutions and makes complex systems legible to the rest of us. And The Nerve continues that work with urgency and clarity. She's also a compelling voice on truth, accountability, and what it means to resist in the digital age. Please welcome to the stage, Carole Cadwalladr. Carole is joined by an investigative journalist and author who has reported from courtrooms around the world, specialising in stories of power abuse and the systems that protect them. Her work combines rigorous legal insight with a deep focus on the human impact behind the headlines. Please welcome Lucia Osborne-Crowley. Come take a seat. So we're going to talk a little bit, then we're going to have an interval, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk more deeply, and you're going to get a chance to do ask some Qs and get some As from these brilliant women. But I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for joining us. And we love the Nerve News, so we're very, very excited to be doing a crossover with some absolutely brilliant journalistic minds. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Carole, and how you've come to be here today?
Oh gosh, how have I come to be? That's a big question. But thank you so much for being here and for collabing with the Nerve.News. I love the fact to see it out in the wild. So we are 5 all-female journalists from the Observer and from the Guardian Observer. And basically what happened is they gave our newspaper away. And
I noticed that. I saw that.
You saw that. So basically what happened is the Guardian, the Observer and the Guardian were all part of the same family. And somebody in their wisdom decided to give our bit of the newspaper away. So we had a choice, or some of them had a choice. I may have been pre-sacked before I had the choice. It's a whole story. But anyhow, and we decided...
you were the one that broke all the Cambridge Analytica. Why would they pre-sack you?
Well, I spoke up against the sale of the Observer on behalf of my colleagues. And some people thought they saw that as me being a union spokesperson, and other people saw that as me being a gobshite. And the people who...
Did it depend whether they were looking up to you or down on you in the structure?
It kind of depended on whether they were the new owners or not the new owners. That was the critical division.
So you started the Nerve.
So yes, so there's 5 of us, and they're all here tonight. And we were like, how hard can it be to set up your own all-female-led news organisation in 6 months with no money? And it turns out it is quite hard. Yeah. But it is also possible. So that's actually we're 6 months old, and Lucia is our latest recruit.
Yay!
So that's very exciting.
That's so exciting. And why did you call it the Nerve News?
Well, it was actually Sarah who's here, we had like a list of about 800 names, and they're all terrible. And we were thinking about this early last year. Trump had come in, the world was falling to pieces. All these law companies were folding, and, news organizations in the US were just settling these multi-million-dollar lawsuits. And we were like, what pussies? And we just thought, gosh, if there's something which you've just got to have in this moment, it's to have some nerve.
Have some nerve.
Have some nerve. So that was our idea.
It's quite evocative as well, as it's like sometimes you touch a nerve with the story that you bring out.
That's right, and that's right, exactly. We've got T-shirts, and my one was bespoke, which was there was other people who had like have nerve, and then she's got nerve, and mine was she's got a fucking nerve.
Brilliant. And Lucia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, certainly. Hi, thank you for having me. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, which is something I've always wanted to say.
Yes, absolutely.
My whole life. But no one's ever invited me on a podcast that I listen to all the time.
Oh,
So,
that's amazing.
so-
And you actually have, as a long-time listener, you have an I'm a Feminist But you want to do, don't you?
oh, no.
Okay. You absolutely can if you want.
No.
You sure?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All
then.
right.
It's very feminist response of me. I was just thinking when Carole said, "Oh, Lucia's our newest recruit," and then you said, "Oh, and why did you decide to call it the Nerve?" I thought you were going to say, "Oh, and why on earth did you recruit Lucia?"
Not at all.
That was what came into my mind.
I've read your book, which is such a brilliant, brilliant book. And it's about, you were one of the only reporters allowed at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial.
I
Is
was.
that correct?
Yes.
And the book is a real reckoning. It's very detailed. If it's something that you want to know about, but written in a very beautiful and sensitive way, that I really recommend it. It's called The Lasting Harm. And it's a really fantastic book. It's on offer on Kindle at the moment, actually. So if
I didn't know that.
But buy the real book, because then she'll get more money.
That's
yeah.
what I was going to ask. How can we get you the most money?
I have no idea.
It's definitely buy the book. It's definitely buy the book.
Publishing is so weird. I don't understand it. It's very confusing. I don't know how it works. But buying the book would be great.
Yeah.
So thanks.
And can you tell us a little bit about how you were able to be one of the only reporters at the trial, and how that came about, and what drew you to the Nerve?
Yes. So I wish I could say that I got one of those coveted spots in the trial through merit, but I didn't, because how it worked was it's a high-profile trial, and they said, okay, we're going to have 4 reporters in the actual courtroom. For some unknown reason, they put Ghislaine's trial in one of the smallest courtrooms in this enormous federal courthouse. They said, there's going to be 4 of you, and the best way we can think to do that is to make you all line up. And the first 4 in the line will come in. And
What?
yeah,
It was first come, first serve.
it was first come, first serve. So literally, all I did was arrive before everyone else. But I'm like I don't do anything by half, you know. Like I'm not someone who, if I'm doing something, I'm doing it.
So you
right?
camped out, like, for concert tickets?
Yeah, I did.
That's incredible. Who were you writing for?
Just me. I was just writing a book. Just little old me.
So you were freelance?
I was.
And you just...
You're like the
it was
YouTuber
mad.
of journalists.
It was really mental, actually.
Wasn't it quite cold?
It was really fucking cold. So it was,
What month was it, Lucia?
It was December, Manhattan, midwinter. Like it was so cold. And you know, I know there are some Australians
And for an
here.
Australian,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm Australian, right? I'm from Brisbane. It's very hot in Brisbane.
Were you born in Brisbane?
I was actually born in Hackney, but I was raised in Brisbane. It's
You were
very
born
confusing.
in Hackney and raised in Brisbane?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I was born in Hackney, went to Brisbane for a bit, and then went to Sydney, and now I've come back to London. But from what I've heard tonight, I feel like I need to move to Braintree, because it sounds like that's where...
Absolutely brilliant. Like, yeah.
So that's gonna be my next-
yeah,
my
we're all
next
going to
move.
camp out in that Wetherspoons.
Yeah. So what I did was I realised that we had to get there at like 1 o'clock in the morning in order to get one of these first 4 spots. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't move to New York to come and watch this trial from an overflow room, because they let other journalists in the overflow rooms, but like you couldn't see anything. They had these giant screens with this like tiny image of what was happening. And I was like, I didn't fly all this way to do that. So I shall be one of the first 4 in line. And that means that I have to be here. It was like between midnight and 1 o'clock that I arrived every night. And they wouldn't let us in until about 8:30. And it was so cold. And also we were so tired. But like there was just so many problems with this setup, because nowhere was open to like go to the bathroom, for example. So we like really wanted a coffee to wake us up, but then that would mean we'd need to pee, and there was nowhere to do that. So it was just oh my God, it was awful. And the security guards wouldn't even let us sit down. Like when we sat down, they would come and like stand us up. So we had to stand in the freezing cold. Like it was snowing one night, it was hailing one night. And then one night I didn't go home at all. I just came out at 6 p.m. from the courtroom and just stood out the front in line and waited there all night. But the best part of this is that because I was the only one doing this freelance, the other 3 journalists all had newspapers backing them. So their newspapers were paying for line sitters. I don't know if you guys know about this phenomenon, but it's a big thing in America. So this company, it was owned by this guy called Robert. He started it during COVID when he wanted to change his life. I was so happy for him. I got to know this man so well because I spent all night, every night, sitting next to him for 6 weeks.
Were you not tempted to pay somebody to do it?
I couldn't afford it. It was so expensive, and I had a tiny, tiny book advance.
I can absolutely see why the Nerve recruited you, because you have nerve.
Thank you.
You have nerve, absolutely.
I was going to say baptism of fire, but baptism of ice, really, and snow and hail.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize you had to queue every night. I thought just the first 4 in were just the 4 that got to go in all the time.
I'll be honest with you, I thought the same thing that you did.
Right.
When I planned the trip. But again, after the first day, I was like, I'm in now. My personality does not allow me to half do things.
So when were you sleeping?
Not
Did you
much.
not go a bit
I mean, to be honest, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd finish at the jury would be sent home at 4:30. The lawyers would do some stuff without the jury. We'd finish about 6. I'd go back to my hotel 7 p.m., go to sleep, and set an alarm for 11 p.m.
Wow.
So I would sleep for a few hours and then...
Well, we appreciate your service. Can you tell us about the trial and about what you learnt and took away from the trial and how it manifests now in the world for you, where we are with the Epstein files essentially being closed down? What shocks me so much is because they sent Jeffrey Epstein to prison, because they sent Ghislaine Maxwell to prison, they have acknowledged those 2 people were running a ring and were trafficking young women, vulnerable women and girls and children. They've acknowledged that. That is acknowledged. But not one man in this ring. The FBI can't find one man in the ring. That makes no sense. I don't understand it. So could you tell us a little bit about the trial and what it was like?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was really bizarre for that exact reason. So Jeffrey was first reported to the FBI in 1995. Law enforcement did nothing about it, they just said, carry on. And then he was arrested in 2007. They kind of pretended to send him to jail, but they didn't really. Then they let him continue doing what he was doing. He was rearrested in 2019. We thought there was going to be a trial. That's what my book was going to be about. Then he got out of that trial, obviously, because he died. And then they arrested...
What an excuse.
Did he, though?
Well, that's a whole question, isn't it? So then...
No, I'm really asking you, did he? You
I
must
died.
What do you think about that? Can I ask you? Or is that just asking you to engage in conspiracy theories? Because I'm open to it. I was saying this in the dressing room, but I used to be that kind of person that went, there are no conspiracies. Anytime you get close to the seat of power, they can't even do the thing they're meant to be doing in public competently, much less a second secret thing. But now, with all this that's come out in the Epstein files, I'm like, oh shit. Bad guys are running things and lying to us, and what else can we not believe? What do you have? I mean, I'm sort of pushing you to say, what do you think happened to Jeffrey Epstein? It's not like you know, but do you have a sense?
I mean, it's so hard. I mean, I've been now touring this book for almost 2 years, and I get asked this all the time. But to be honest, there are survivors who genuinely believe that it's very possible that he's alive somewhere, and that if anyone can have that arrangement set up for them, it's him. He has the connections to be able to do that. I don't know. What I do know is that nothing about his death in the MDC, which is the prison he was in, was usual. There's more and more things that it seems increasingly unusual. We've got footage that's missing. We've got, there's just a bunch of things that don't really add up.
Oh, yeah, they're like all the prison wardens were asleep.
Yes.
And all the cameras went off, but one which shows no one went there.
Yes.
And come on.
Yes. I mean, exactly. It's like it feels absurd. And I spoke to someone on kind of deep background who had worked in that particular prison. And he said that he thinks 2 people took a $1 million nap. That was
really
his theory of what happened. But, it's just we're just so far through the looking glass that I don't know what happened that night, but it's like now that we've seen all the emails and also even just the evidence we saw at trial, the extent of the power that he commanded, and that he kind of developed this insane network of powerful people.
Can I ask a conspiracy theory question?
Yeah.
Is that because he was Mossad?
I mean, so maybe. So here's what we know, right? We know that the FBI had evidence potentially of him abusing up to 100 girls in 2007, one of the most serious state crimes, and the FBI decided to let him plead to 2 counts of solicitation. They let him have day release, so he left jail every day for 12 hours. He went to his home, where he continued abusing girls and young women while he was technically in jail, right? So we know that plea deal was unprecedented. I've never heard of, I've never heard of anything like it. And Jim Acosta, who later became Trump's Labor Secretary, was in charge of this deal. And when he was asked about it one time, years ago, he said, I was told that I had to be very lenient with him because he's an asset. Right. So he said, on the record, he now says he didn't say it, but he said he's an asset. That's something we know. Then we also know that there's an email from Jeffrey in the files that's jokingly saying, haha, please tell them I'm not Mossad. Which is, it's just, there's just many, many, many things that we know that point to that, but we can't know for sure.
To close the first half, I have got you just taking a quick pic. To close the first half, I decided that I have a frustration at the moment that men are not speaking out about these things. That I see again and again men not speaking out, and thank you to the one person who applauded that. I went to the Cheltenham Literary Festival and ended up catching the train back with a poet who I was already following on Instagram, who I think is great. I think he speaks extremely openly and vulnerably and emotionally, but sort of straight-faced to you. And I was having a conversation with him the other day. We've become friends, and I said, would you be interested in writing a poem about how it feels to be a man at the moment? Especially with what's going on. A lot of you have seen that Motherless story, which is basically a website that has a section that trains men to do what Giselle Pellico's husband did to her. And I don't know what it feels to be like a man at the moment. I can't imagine what that feels like and how you go about talking to other men. I mean, I look around now because of post Giselle Pellico and go, how many men would do this, So I thought I would ask Dan and Dan said I would absolutely love to write something like that. And so would you like to hear something from Dan? If not, it's going to be very disappointing for him because I'm going to have to say, don't come out.
It's so nice that in 2026 we can have token men in shows.
Yes, exactly. He's the only one. Actually, no, there's a male musician tonight as well.
That's too many. They might synchronize.
All right. Now, are we going to stay up here Graham Norton style? We didn't discuss this, or do you want to go and watch this from the audience and let Dan take the stage?
Are you asking us to objectify him from behind or in front?
He is quite handsome.
He really is.
God, imagine if this was 4 men talking and bringing on a woman talking like
I know.
this. It would be really wrong. Shall we go and watch in the audience? Okay. All right, let's do that. Please, big round of applause for Carole Cadwalladr. Lucia Osborne-Crowley, and Ria Lina. And now, welcome to the stage, the wonderful Dan Whitlam.
See, I would love if you just said, yeah, we want to objectify him from behind. Just, why not? That was your goal. That was. I mean, hey, why not? One woman in party. No, you have to stay like that. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing good? Yeah? First of all, I was going to say massive... I don't think this goes any higher. We're out. We're in another room. First of all, I was going to say massive thank you to the whole Guilty Feminist team, to Deborah, to everyone here today. Yeah, massive thank you. I'm a musician and I'm a poet. And I do know it. Awful. But I've been seeing a lot of articles recently online or on social media, in particular about women explaining their own experiences, their brave experiences with things they've gone through, and you always see, or I've always seen this one comment that keeps coming up, usually from a sort of faceless username. That's always like, "Oh, it's not all men," not all men. And from what I've seen, it's usually, these comments are coming from people with sort of very random usernames like, I don't know, sort of Shovelhead37 or something similar. But it's always the same line. It's sort of not all men. That's what they say, right? That most of us are the good guys. There was just a smaller portion that decided to do bad and blurred lines, but it's not all men, right? No, it's just the ones who stayed over a little too late or put their hand a little too far down her back. The ones who catcalled in the nighttime saying I could see she wanted it from the way she acted. But, maybe it was the low-cut top that she was wearing, the one that flowed and fell in satin. Or maybe it was the same lads who stood by with a smile and just let it all happen. Let it happen without a whisper, didn't stand up or consider how violence might land and leave something bitter. And so, he goes home and then she goes home too, and maybe he goes home with a smile and maybe she goes home blue, and maybe he thinks it's okay while he's watching the news to see Sarah Everard murdered while he's taking off his shoes, but it's not all men. No. But tell me then, how is it okay for someone to be afraid walking home late at night, clenching their fists white-knuckled while softly checking what's walking behind? Taking the time to stay by street lights because there's a little worry in mind that if it happens to 1 in 3 people, what's stopping it from happening tonight? But it's not all men. Or maybe it's all men until it's no men. Until no men stay silent. The way you stayed silent when your friend called her a name and you just sat back and laughed. The way you didn't really ask, just called it a fit of passion. The way a brave woman trusted her husband for 50 years before suffering the worst things imagined. But it's not all men. But it's all men who chose not to. Chose not to make a woman feel safe or point it out when it happened. Chose silence over correction because it felt easier to manage. Chose not to speak up or speak out when it was happening right in front of you. Chose to hear the joke and laugh instead of correcting the bad view. Now, in a world where you have to share your location in a taxi or receive a text, when you get home safe, in a world where 70,000 men are in a rape group chat trading tactics like it's a game, I asked, what kind of man are you? What kind of man am I? Are we going to be allies to women and do our best to understand the terrors they go through in this life? Or do we stand by silently and watch the numbers rise? Inaction is indifference, and indifference leads us to the statement of all men. Now, if I can leave you with anything, I'm going to leave you with this. I wrote this for International Women's Day in memory of my mum, who I lost when I was a lot younger. But I thought it might just give a little nice cap to end things with. Dear women of our lifetime, you women are our lifeline. The ones who bring us into this world and teach us kindness from a bright mind. The ones who, despite it all, are still planting seeds in this ugly world. Yeah, turning fields of greed into fields of green and hate into lovely words. And that's mothers and sisters. Yeah, girlfriends to lovers. The ones who smother us in hugs when we're downtrodden by what's above us. The ones who push past adversity and still they're standing with that weight. The women who had to wait to be seen because change in the world was running late. We need to be better for our women, more respect for our women. Yet with your best breath, tell them you love them, for tomorrow is not a given. I want to rise for our women, move with the times for our women. For women are the ones with wonder that's kept in their vision. Look, I pray that I listen, because she spoke and held the whole universe between her lips. Thank you very much. I've been Dan Whitlam.
Dan Whitlam, everybody! Gosh, he's tall, isn't he? So when we say not all men, he's the man. He's the one it isn't. Thank you so much. That's been Act 1. Go and have a break, go to the loo and get a drink, and we'll see you back here in 10 to 15. Thank you very much.
So that was the first half. Join us for part 2, which should be in your feed right now.